Hello, my dear friend. There's such a pleasant breeze outside today. Not warm, but not cold either. The kind that just brushes against your cheek and makes you feel, well, awake. It reminds me of a little walk I once took. Oh, yes, let me tell you about it. It was a Thursday afternoon, one of those days where the sky isn't exactly sunny, but not gloomy either, just a calm, neutral blue. I'd wandered quite a few kilometers from my home when I came across a small parking area. Only 2 cars were there, one blue, one red, and I thought, why on earth would anyone park here? There's nothing around, no shops, no houses, certainly nothing important. Then it occurred to me, perhaps they're out hiking. That would make sense. Anyway, I noticed the start of a path, framed neatly by trees, almost like a doorway into the woods. It was inviting, in that quiet way nature can be. When you walk into a forest, the air takes on a new character, not quite as dramatic as standing between 2 mountains where the wind sweeps through like a grand performance, but still, forests have their own way of filtering the air, making it fresher, cleaner, and surprisingly, there weren't many insects around that day. That's rare, isn't it? Usually they seem to lurk in every corner, but here, nothing much at all. Just the sound of my steps and the leaves above. I kept walking until I came across something rather amusing, 2 knee-high stones with the path continuing just beyond. I could have gone around, squeezing between a few trunks, but I stepped over instead. The ground began to slope upward in such a gentle rhythm you barely noticed. Nature sometimes does that, shapes the land so evenly it feels intentional. After a while, the path faded into open spaces between slim trees. No clear trail, just 2 or 3 gaps that could be called ways if you were generous. I chose the middle one. It seemed most inviting, branches bending just low enough to form a polite leafy archway. Before long, I realized I'd been weaving in and out of trails. Looking back, there was no clear way behind me, but I remembered my footprints, left in the soft earth between scattered leaves. It was an old trick of mine. I pressed on, even passing a little pond to my right. Quite a pretty thing, really, round in a perfect way that made it feel almost deliberate, as though the forest had placed it there just to break the sameness. From time to time, I'd hear rustling in the leaves, probably little black birds hopping from one bush to another. As a child, I used to imagine it was people hiding. I even spotted a parade of ants once, marching along a fallen tree trunk, like a tiny military unit. Then I entered a more open space, maybe 10 square meters, ringed by trees. Perfect for a picnic, I thought, though I'm not sure wild camping is even allowed these days. I glanced back again, marveling at how beautiful the maze of trails looked, like a natural labyrinth. Above me, clouds gathered, darker, heavier. Half an hour later, I felt the first drops. You know, it started so subtly I hardly noticed. The gentle patter on the leaves, branches shaken loose, a few drops. I followed my footprints, but slowly they grew fainter, and then gone. The rain had taken them all at once. I thought of Orville then, my dear friend, and his favorite saying, Plan B. He once told me how he dressed to perfection for an important meeting, trusted the train to get him there, and found it delayed beyond hope. I should have checked for a bus, he said. Always have a plan B. Good advice, though it tends to arrive in my mind halfway through situations like this. I sheltered under a thick canopied tree, thinking it would have been best to bring a compass. Although, now that I think about it, how does a compass even work? I mean, yes, it points to the north, but how does it know where north is? Anyway, eventually the heavy drops found me there too, and I moved on. After a while, I came across the pond again. I could hear the rain pattering on its surface before I even saw it, and I remembered the little wooden logs lying near its edge. They'd stuck in my memory, and they told me exactly which way I'd come from before. Soon, I came upon a familiar split. Middle path, straight ahead. In the distance, bingo, the two stones. I fixed my eyes on them so intently I nearly walked into a tree, then broke into a sort of determined sprint. Over the stones, rather like Super Mario, if you'll forgive the comparison. And there it was, the leafy archway I'd passed earlier. I stepped out into the open, heading for the shelter by the parking area. The blue and red cars were gone, replaced by a single purple one, curious, standing there, rain easing on the roof above. I thought, I did it. I was proud. Part of me wished I'd stayed longer, the adrenaline still in my body, but I was also glad to be out. And really, without the rain, the whole adventure wouldn't have happened. Only a few kilometers now between me and home. I'd sit down later, perhaps watch a documentary about forest trails, maybe even compasses. And when I think back on it, it really would have been better to have a plan B. You never know what's coming, and even if you never need it, it's always good to have one.